My name is Steve Zeltzer. I'm with the Network for Safety on Our Streets and Workers, and also I'm with the United Front Committee for a Labor Party. We're here today in Chinatown a week or so after there was an incident here where a Waymo vehicle was burned up, was attacked and burned. And although we're not in favor of that kind of action, burning up robo-taxis, we feel that the people of San Francisco, the residents of San Francisco, are fed up and angry about the fact that these vehicles, these remote vehicles, robo-taxis, are on the streets. The fact of the matter is, Cruise was engaged in dangerous activity in San Francisco. They covered up the fact that a vehicle dragged a woman more than 20 feet. There was no criminal investigation of that. They covered that up, and Brooke Jenkins should have been investigating that. But the fact of the matter is, these vehicles are not following the DMV vehicle code. They've been given an exception from the DMV vehicle code. The people of San Francisco, the people of California, have a right to expect equality of treatment. But apparently our Governor, Gavin Newsom, and his appointees on the California Public Utility Commission, the Department of Motor Vehicles, have given a pass to these autonomous companies that they don't have to follow the rules. Not only that, but they can regulate themselves. And what we've seen with the Cruise situation is that Cruise was providing its own figure. There was no independent coverage of what was going on with these vehicles to the people of California. What kind of agency would allow these vehicles, these autonomous vehicles, to operate in California, on the streets of California, without really any kind of independent investigation about what's happening to these vehicles? We're saying that that's wrong, and today in Chinatown and San Francisco, we're saying to the people of San Francisco, enough is enough. These robo-taxis and Google, which by the way gave over $10 million to Governor Newsom, should not be on the streets of San Francisco. They also want to expand on the peninsula and be on the highways. They're taking away, additionally, they're taking away jobs of working people in San Francisco. There are millions of workers who are affected by these vehicles. In fact, Governor Newsom vetoed a bill put forward by the Teamsters that have required a driver, if you have a truck over 10,000 pounds, on the streets of California. We think it's outrageous to have, for Governor Newsom to veto a bill that would protect the people of California. These robo-trucks could kill thousands of people. They're dangerous, and we think that Governor Newsom is not listening to the people of San Francisco, who are unanimous in opposing these autonomous vehicles. He's not listening to the people of California. The California legislature was near unanimous for that bill, saying you cannot have a driverless truck over 10,000 pounds, yet he vetoed the bill. So who is Governor Newsom representing? That's what we're asking here today. Is he representing the people of San Francisco? The anger of the people of San Francisco is really growing. And we're saying that people are fed up and angry, and that we have to stop this. And we're demanding today in San Francisco, a week after that accident of the burning of a Waymo vehicle. They cost over $200,000. A burning, an attack on the Waymo is another example of the growing anger. Again, we don't support those kind of actions, but it reflects the fact that people are fed up with these vehicles. Just yesterday, on my street, there was a delivery, and the Waymo was backed up against it. They're not operating as vehicles that drivers operate in San Francisco. They're not operating in the same way. They're autonomous vehicles, and they should not be on the road. Now, who are they going to benefit? Who are they going to benefit? Who are these vehicles going to benefit? Well, they'll benefit the billionaires who really run California. Because if they can get rid of all the taxi cab drivers, if they can get rid of all the truck drivers, that's going to make them profits. Well, we believe that profits are not what drives things. We should have the interests of the public in San Francisco and the interests of working people. That's what we should be doing. Instead, it's flipped on its head. You have a governor who doesn't really care if these vehicles violate the DMV rules. A governor who doesn't care if you have driverless trucks on the streets of our highways, threatening the health and safety of people. Apparently that's secondary to serving the interests of Google and these tech companies. So our next speaker is Mark Gruberg. He's with the San Francisco Taxi Workers Alliance. Welcome, Mark.
Thanks, Steve. San Francisco Taxi Workers Alliance has been involved for the past number of years at the CPUC with the rulemaking proceedings that have been going forward over, first of all, over TNCs and now over these robo-taxis, as they're called. We don't call them taxis because, taxi is a specific kind of a vehicle that performs a specific kind of a service that these vehicles don't do, but nonetheless, we'll call them robo-taxis. And if you compare them to the taxis those that we drive, there's no comparison in terms of the safety of the public. We don't do the kinds of things that these guys do. We don't run into fire trucks. We don't drive into wet concrete. We don't run over people and then drag them for 20 feet because we don't recognize that there's a human being beneath our wheels. So what these companies are doing, and right now we're focusing on Waymo, but it's Waymo, it's Cruise, Zoox is waiting in the wings. There's some 40 some odd companies that have permits to test these robo vehicles. So the CPUC really has to get its act together. They've been approving these vehicles when they have already proven to be unsafe. When the fire department of San Francisco says they're unsafe, they've recorded dozens upon dozens of incidents. And let me focus on Waymo for a minute, because this is the company that is now asking to expand its operations to the San Francisco Peninsula, an area a number of times larger than San Francisco, and to much of the city of Los Angeles, a huge area. They do not deserve to expand. What really should be happening is that they should be drawing back, that the CPUC should be rescinding their ability to operate freely in San Francisco. And Waymo claims to have a better track record than its competitor Cruise. But that's only by comparison. When the fire department started recording the incidences of interference with fire trucks, it turned out that of the dozens of incidents, about a third of them were attributable to Waymo. So, Waymo's probably very happy about the fact that Cruise exists because they think it makes them look good. But take Cruise out of the situation, and what do you got? You have Waymo causing dozens upon these incidents. And if you go to the Safe Streets Rebel website, you'll see dozens and dozens of more incidents, all of them documented on video or documented in photos. So it's really, really plain to see what's going on, and the CPUC is simply blinding itself to that. Just the other day in Phoenix, two Waymo vehicles ran into the same truck, if you can believe it. Two of them ran into the same truck. This truck was being towed, and apparently the truck being towed was at a slight angle to the tow truck, and they did not recognize the situation. Any human driver would have avoided that situation. But no, the Waymo didn't, because these are robots and the technology just isn't there, and it won't be there for a long time, and the CPUC has got to get its act together. And we had just recently an incident here in San Francisco where a Waymo struck a bicyclist. And who's investigating that? And why isn't it being investigated by the CPUC with the object of determining whether Waymo should be allowed to continue on the streets of San Francisco? They should not. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And as we know, they violate the DMV rules, and the state, the DMV and the CPUC have given them a pass to violate the vehicle code. That's wrong. and it violates really equality. I mean, there's one rule for the autonomous vehicles, the remote vehicles, and another rule for us. So they don't have the technology to recognize pedestrians who may want to cross the street. Under California code, you have to wait and see if there's a pedestrian waiting to cross the street. Now, these Waymo vehicles violate that, flagrantly violate that. Yet, they're on the streets of San Francisco, and they want to expand to the peninsula, they want to expand to Los Angeles. The other thing that I think is important is there's no rule for the California Public Utility Commission to talk about the introduction of technology and how it will affect working people. It'll cost the jobs of hundreds of thousands of taxi cab workers and truck drivers. And that should be part of the determination of whether technology is introduced. We're not in favor of technology that is going to hurt working people, hurt the people of San Francisco, the people of California. So our next speaker is Edward Escobar, Alliance of Independent Workers. Welcome, Edward.
Well, thank you, Steve. My name is Edward Escobar. I'm the founder of Alliance for Independent Workers, the Drivers Unite movement. It's a national and international movement, and we are railing against the autonomous vehicles. Why? Because there's an ethical dilemma. They don't care who they hit as long as they're making profits. And we need to have the oversight, and we are not guinea pigs here in California. We are not guinea pigs here in San Francisco. We are not guinea pigs in the Bay Area. We are standing here together. I'm a driver myself, and I've worked with Uber. Uber has a partnership with Waymo. Uber is providing them with their clientele list so that they can feed the monster that is Waymo. Now, we did the work against the GM Cruise. GM Cruise permit for California got pulled. Why? Because we brought transparency to what they were doing on the streets when they are damaging our society. They're hitting people, and they are keeping their records proprietary. What does that mean? It means that they feel they have ownership over that information. That information, they are operating on the public trust, which is the public venues here, the public thoroughfares here. Our streets, that the taxpayers pay for these streets, and we maintain these streets. Where is the city on this? The city of San Francisco. They are conveniently there when they want to be there. They're there for money, for profits. And the tech titans have taken over San Francisco, and they've given the keys away. You see London Breed? She did a nice show for APEC. But then what happens for the people after that? Before and after, then it's back to the same old, same old. It's unacceptable. As a driver and representing the interests of drivers and gig workers under the Drivers Unite, hashtag Drivers Unite, hashtag Gig Workers Unite, we see that this is a race to the bottom. The future of work is in jeopardy. And what does that mean? It means that there's going to be permanent displacement of workers in the workforce by tech. This is a new age of AI that's being ushered in. You have AI, right? You have this age of AI automation, self-driving tech. All of this is merging together, and this is going to lead to permanent displacement. People say, oh, well, you know, Industrial Revolution, people found other ways to work, to find a living. It's not the same, people. Even white-collar work is going to be permanently displaced. Surgeons are going to be displaced. Lawyers are going to be displaced. So we're here today to have this common sense discussion and also a demand to Governor Newsom to do his job. Why Governor Newsom? Because he appoints the commission, the California Public Utilities Commission. It is a public utilities. They're supposed to be there representing the interests of the public. But are they? They're representing the interests of profits over people 24/7. There was a commissioner, John Reynolds, he's still there. He was managing legal counsel for GM Cruise up until 2019. On the vote whether to allow autonomous vehicles on the streets, he voted yes. He should have recused himself. Now the Teamsters and ourselves, we started that. We are demanding that he resign. That John Reynolds commissioner for the CPUC, resign, because you're not representing the interests of the public. And here in San Francisco, this is the Hollywood of tech. As you see what happened with Uber, it spread like a virus across the world. And what's happening there is the damage that it's done to the workforce. The damage that it's done, that they don't feel they have to answer to the public because they are privatizing the public trust, which is public transportation. They are profiting off of that, and they don't give a damn about what we think, about the public thinks. They are answering only to their shareholders. The corporation, they say as a person, the corporation, the personality profiles of the corporation is that of a sociopath. A sociopath you're going to put in charge of the public transportation infrastructure and let them do what they want to do for profit, profits over people, unacceptable. Look what's happened here in Chinatown. The fire department, they are not happy with these EVs, autonomous vehicles, because when they catch on fire, the heat is so extreme, it's so difficult to put out. That could have spread like a wildfire throughout Chinatown, and it could have ruined the celebration for the Lunar New Year for China, for Chinese, the Chinese Lunar New Year. So we need to be on top of this. We are calling for Governor Newsom to pull the permit for Google Waymo. Stop Waymo. Stop Waymo. Stop Waymo. Stop Waymo. Stop Waymo. Stop Waymo. We, the public, need to demand that and stay on top of this. Next, I want to introduce Chris Moore, and he is a candidate running for the Alameda County Supervisor's position, District 5. And why is he here? It's because what's transferring from here is spilling onto the East Bay and the surrounding communities. And so we need to address this and keep this in check in San Francisco and address it for public safety purposes before it gets out of control. All right, here, Chris Moore.
Hey, Edward, thank you. Yeah, I think the big issue here is what technology, we're not against technology. Technology is important, but technology is important for safety, right? For the safety of our drivers and the safety of our community, and that's what we need to focus on here when we're bringing technology into the situation. And that's what there's a broader issue here and broader discussion, but that is really what we stand for. Is we want more safety for the community and more safety for the drivers in these vehicles. And again, I'm Chris Moore, running for County Supervisor over in the East Bay, Alameda County, and that's what I have. Thank you.
Again, we're talking about a serious health and safety threat to the people of San Francisco. One of the issues that we want to raise here is what would happen in an earthquake in San Francisco. Chinatown and San Francisco has some experiences with earthquakes. We know that earthquakes disrupt everything. And one of the things that will happen, and we've seen happen right here in North Beach, is that all of a sudden during the activity around Golden Gate Park, the fair that they were having, all the taxis stopped, all the Waymo taxis stopped. And they said there was interference because of the Wi-Fi. Now, can you imagine what would happen in San Francisco if there's an earthquake that shut down the Wi-Fi in San Francisco? That would be highly chaotic, highly dangerous. And all these Waymo cars would probably stop where they are. And where would they stop? They would stop in the middle of the road. That's where they would stop. What would that mean? That would mean emergency vehicles, ambulances would not be able to get through the streets of San Francisco. That is a life and death question. If ambulances are delayed 5-10 minutes, people will die. People will die if ambulances get delayed. That is what Governor Newsom is putting us in danger of facing. He's putting us in danger of facing people dying because if there's an earthquake or another serious incident in which the Wi-Fi shuts down, these vehicles will shut down because they're run by Wi-Fi. They need Wi-Fi. So why is he doing this? Why is he disregarding this serious health and safety hazard of a possible earthquake in San Francisco and how that would affect the operation of these autonomous vehicles? The reason is he's controlled by Google. He's controlled by these tech billionaires, and they don't give a damn if people die. That's very clearly the case. If people get run over and die, that's just a number. It's just an accident. They'll pay it off. They'll pay the family off. But lives are at stake, and what we're saying is we are not going to tolerate that. The people of San Francisco and the anger that's in San Francisco and growing against the Waymo and these autonomous vehicles is not going to stop. People are fed up, they're angry, and Gavin Newsom, who wants to run for president of the United States, better wake up to the fact that the people of California are getting angry about how he's behaving towards the people of San Francisco as far as these Waymo vehicles, these autonomous vehicles. Apparently he doesn't care. He doesn't care if the Teamsters, he tells the Teamsters that he's not concerned about 10,000-pound trucks driving on the streets of San Francisco and the highways. He's not concerned if people are dragged by cruise vehicles. The fact of the matter, and we raise this again, Brooke Jenkins should be prosecuting Cruz. Should be prosecuting Cruz because Cruz covered up the fact that their car ran over and dragged somebody for 20 feet. They covered it up. They falsified the video of that incident by editing it. If you or I did that, falsified an accident to cover, guess what? We would be prosecuted criminally. But Brooke Jenkins, like Gavin Newsom, is taking money for these tech companies. There are a lot of ads in San Francisco about how Brooke Jenkins is concerned about health and safety in San Francisco and the people of San Francisco. How about the autonomous vehicles? How about Cruise?
The next speaker is Tuan No, and he is the founder of Asians Unite, and also Zoya here from the Chinese community as well.
We love technology, we like technology, we rely on technology, but we can't have unproven technology out there killing people. Last October, a lady was dragged 20 feet by a driverless vehicle. We just cannot have that happen. Where's our public safety? We need to bring back common sense and protect the public from technology that is unproven, because right now, Waymo, Google, there's a race to make billions of dollars, and who's left out of this equation is the public, who's not protected. It's profit over people when we are being ignored and people are being killed on the streets and being mulled over. That can't continue. We're here to say no, stop it, and to protect the public, bring back common sense. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing， 安全第一。希望我们华人社区请注意，安全第一。
Okay.
Kelly, San Francisco Standard. I asked Waymo for comment about today's rally. They mentioned that there are positive impacts from the vehicles in terms of reaching out to serve disabled communities and differently abled communities. Is there a possibility that any good outweighs bad?
Well, as a disabled community, what we have to ask is, disabled people need help of taxi cab workers. And taxi cab workers actually provide the disabled community actual help, not an autonomous vehicle.
The disabled community is best helped by a real live human driver, because we do it all the time. I do it every time I work. We help people in and out of the vehicle. We carry their groceries. We carry their luggage. Sometimes, you know, we run it up to the second or third floor of their house. The disabled community is always best served by a human driver who can come to their assistance to give them the assistance that they need. So the thought that these vehicles are somehow an advance for the disabled community is totally wrong. It's a setback. It's going to be a setback. Thanks.
As a driver, black car, TCP, when you speak to folks that are disabled, the blind, people that are in wheelchairs, like Mark Gruber said with the San Francisco Taxi Workers Alliance here, the human aspect of it makes a huge difference, because who's going to help with the wheelchair? Who's going to help with the cane? Who's going to help them go that extra mile? The vehicle can't do that. It doesn't come equipped with robots, at least not yet, to get out and to assist. I've heard complaints from individuals that they do not pick them up at the curb. They'll pick them up out in the middle of the street. And it's not reliable where they will drop them off. So if you're a blind person and you're relying on the vehicle to take you to your destination as entered, then you're left in a very dangerous situation. That's why we're here, safety first. It's extremely important. So the technology is not ready for prime time. The San Francisco fire chief stated that. Jarvis Murray with the LA Department of Transportation said the same thing. It's not ready for prime time. But yet the CPUC still went forward with the influence of John Reynolds, with the influence and the power and the financial contributions of the tech titans of Silicon Valley, Google Waymo and Amazon Zoox. So we're going to give away the keys to the city, to the state, to our country, to tech that puts profits over people 24/7. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. We need to look at safety first. Safety first for the people. Si se puede, yes we can make a difference. That's why we're here today, to call out the governor. Governor Newsom, do your job for public transportation. Let's keep it public. It's not called private transportation. It's public transportation for a reason. It is also undermining the public transportation infrastructure, because taxis then go out of business. Buses, less ridership. BART, less ridership. They're going to reduce service. They're going to cut service to certain areas because people are going to be overly reliant on these types of vehicles. Just like Uber, the same thing that they've done to our communities. So there's only so many people that can pay for private transportation. So we have to think about all the people in our communities. We've got to think about the elderly. We've got to think about the school kids that need to get here and there. We've got to think about the disabled. We've got to think about the people that are financially not able to hire a private vehicle. So that is our responsibility, and it is the responsibility more so of Governor Newsom to do his job on behalf of the people. We demand, Governor Newsom, stop Waymo. Stop Waymo. Stop Waymo.
Thank you. And again, we don't want to see more people hurt or injured, and the danger of an earthquake in San Francisco is ever present. And we know that if there is an earthquake, Waymo and these autonomous vehicles threaten to block the streets of San Francisco. They know that. They know that. Governor Newsom knows that. He's been told that. Because he knows that they're based on Wi-Fi. That's the technology they're based on. And in an earthquake, the Wi-Fi is going to go down. In a big earthquake, the Wi-Fi is going to go down. That means these cars are going to shut down wherever they are. And if they're in Chinatown, which they are, if they're on the highways, which they are, they will shut down and they will block passages. They will put people in danger, their health and safety. So thank you for joining us. We're going to continue the struggle. And lastly, we support the reintroduction of the bill that the Teamsters have put forward to ban these trucks over 10,000 pounds from having a driver, which was vetoed by Governor Newsom. Thank you for joining us today.